Hey Hannah,
How's it going?
it's good. How about you?
Sweet. It's great. So let me introduce you to people so they know who you are and how you're so special. Um, so, so Miles Bukiet is one of my great friends. He's a meditation teacher. He has a passion for interpersonal meditation, among other types of meditation. He received his master's in positive psychology from the University of Pennsylvania here in Philly. And he's practiced for 2 years of solitary retreat under the guidance of Alan Wallace and Roshi Joan Halifax, PhD. He's also heads up a organization called Dharma Gates, and that they work to get meditation to young people in the form of silent retreats. And he's also training to be a psychedelic therapist to work with SoundMind Center, and we're really excited. And we're going to talk about lots of things, including dreams to help us understand reality, what is impermanence, and various other very interesting topics. So thank you for coming, Miles.
Yeah, great to be here.
Cool.
It's
So
been a while since I've seen you too. It's nice
I
to
know
see you.
it's true. It's good to see you too. Let's catch up in the form of what are dreams?
Yeah. What are
Okay,
dreams?
so tell, how's COVID going for you? And I guess I and what role does meditation have? Maybe that's a more gradual
Yeah.
entry into dream
So
work.
COVID's been for my personal life actually relatively benign. I know compared to a lot of the disruption and pain people are experiencing. Uh, Everything I had going on in New York City. I was in social work school, studying Alexander technique. I was teaching a lot of workshops for young people. Pretty much all that got canceled or moved online. And I moved out of New York, and I spent most of the summer split between upstate New York, Massachusetts, and Vermont. And yeah, been teaching a lot online, and also just spending a lot more time meditating myself, kind of taking it as an opportunity to spend more time than I have in a long time, being alone and quiet. And I feel really lucky for that.
Nice, nice. So how is meditation helpful for like how can these techniques help people that are having stressors with COVID?
Yeah. Well, one of the main ways that meditation has come into our culture is this like stress relief kind of function. And it definitely serves that role for sure. Like I think for me, a big thing has been just getting off the news more and like not having certain conversations, not as an avoidance technique, but just because how much information is really helpful.
Hmm, hmm.
And the truth is, I think way less information than most of us are inputting. So having other things to do, like maybe instead of just perpetually engaging a news cycle that's kind of scary, spending time sitting and actually doing something that can be helpful, like calming my own nervous system, becoming more of a resource for other people by doing that. And um, yeah, so I think that disengaging from nonstop news, and also just the dialogue I find with people, it can be like very much grinding on things that might be real and scary, but we can't really do very much about.
Hmm, hmm. Yeah, I definitely think the lack of control that people are feeling is a big source of anxiety, right? It's like, okay, I can control wearing a mask. I can control like
Yeah.
going out of my house or not. I can like get mad at the government for not doing better. Um, and then there's just so much like lack of control and lack of ability to even understand like when can we travel again? Like did we mess up so bad as
Mhm.
Americans, like we're stuck here? It's like there's a lot of like control. I think it's interesting just thinking about the concept of lucid dreaming and like like is that a way to feel like you can control something, or is it like just so esoteric that like not relevant. I think it's relevant, but
Yeah, I mean, dreams are interesting like that because they're just like, for my experience of dreaming is staggeringly out of control. And even in a lucid dream, right, a dream where you're aware that you're dreaming, and this one always gets me when I'm standing in the midst of a lucid dream, and I have a lot of these like very low level lucidity, like I'm lucid enough to know I'm dreaming,
hmm
but not lucid enough to control anything that's happening, or just
hmm
like very marginal control. So that's humbling to see, oh my God, like I know this is generated by my mind somehow. I know that there's no physics going on here. I know that like I thought I was going to be in control, and like absolutely not. Like
hmm hmm
not in control of who's doing what, who's saying what, where I am, how I am, even my own movements. Like very restricted. Sometimes I can fly, sometimes I can't. Like so I often am
You're like,
in
I'm all
such a
powerful,
dream.
and then you're like, I what? Where'd my power go?
Yeah, no, or it's strange. Like I have these moments where I'm trying to do something. Like I'll be like, I can move a little object, but not a big object with my mind, which makes no sense. But or then I'll
Or
like
like
work
you
my
can, or
way
like
up
you can
and like
grow and you can't
progressively get
shrink,
bigger.
right? You're like I'm big, and then you're
Yeah.
like I can't get back down. Shit. Yeah.
Yeah, or I can fly like a bird with a lot of effort, but I can't fly like Superman with just like moving how I
Right, right, right.
want, or I'm flying but I'm also falling at the same time. Like I can't quite keep my altitude.
Right.
Yeah.
Such is life.
Yeah, and then regular dreams are even more out of control. And this one always gets me too, is I wake up and I'm just like, wow, those were mostly stressful. Like pretty much just stressful. Cars
hmm
where brakes don't work. I do that one a lot. I'm always having tests or like some sort of academic thing that I'm very behind on and have not done well.
hmm hmm
Like just these kinds of things, and it's humbling to spend my nights engaged in such absurdity when it's really for resting, right?
Right.
That's kind of
Day is already
the point of
absurd and
sleeping.
terrible. Come on, guys.
Yeah, so if someone, I mean, point taken, if someone could become lucid and then have some more control over that lucid state, that might be a really wonderful kind of outlet and space,
hmm hmm
where yeah, we're not confined so much by culture and physics and bodies and all the other things that sort of rule our lives typically.
Yeah, totally. So I guess I really wanted to ask you about the concept of impermanence and the like that term in general, and how dreams may be able to help us understand like the fluidity of reality, and like why is that, how can that be
Yeah.
helpful in mental health at all, and I think it's a very misunderstood term, like the way it's been translated in English, but
So yeah, I can go in, and the one caveat though is like nature of reality. I don't know if I know anything
come
about the
on,
nature of
Miles.
reality, but I must say it's very interesting how when you are dreaming, how similar it is to waking life. It's different in that you can fly, and it's different in that there's like nobody else actually over there at all, but it's very similar in terms of like everything that's happening I'm responding to, even just the field it occurs in. Like when I am in a dream looking out, it's equivalent to sitting here looking at you on this Zoom. There's no real like phenomenological difference in that. It's actually very similar. I put on a virtual reality headset for the first time ever a couple of months ago, and when you're in a virtual reality space, when I'm looking at you or when I'm in a dream, all of it occurs as totally real. And so yeah, I think from a Buddhist perspective, the classic, like the mind is the forerunner of things, right? Like mind even before atoms, basically. And so so anywhere you can have more, more kind of say, a little more control over what's going on, I think can be a real in from a mental health perspective. And obviously there's all sorts of things that are out of control in this, physical world, and same in the dream world, actually. And then it's like, what's the mind that you're bringing to that? And then in the dream world, that's going to actually literally change everything that you see. And then in the real world, it's more, or the waking world, it's more likely just to kind of shift our reactions and responses.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's really interesting, like the balance of control and lack of control, and is like coming into a mental health state, like realizing we don't have control, or like gaining control in some way. It's like I think it's difficult to know. So here, okay, so there's impermanence, and like I guess for me, when I first started lucid dreaming, which I haven't done for a while, but I used to lucid dream, and then I'd like basically go into these like states that I'm like, oh, you can like walk through walls, but like sometimes you can't because you believe the wall exists, and like you kind of bump into it, and then you have to like turn around and walk backwards into the wall. And like I think there's a lot of ways that you can use lucid dreaming to make you understand how a lot of how we're interacting with the world is basically like we're already projecting onto it what we expect it to do, and then it does the thing, right? Like you're like, okay, I'm gonna like, this table's gonna be hard and I'm gonna touch it, and it is, but like also it goes to the more subtle, like I expect this person to be this way, and I expect this like object to act this way, and it does. And I think there's this like slight loosening of like manifesting a reality that isn't necessarily the only way it could be, if you can like have access to like the flow that it is your mind actually just creating it.
Yes, absolutely, because we're participants,
Right.
and I think you were talking about control and lack of control, and understanding both of those elements, I think, are critical to mental health. Like, where do we not have control? Like, we're going to die. One example, a million other examples. And then where we do have control, and, what comes out of contemplative traditions and also out of, therapeutic traditions, is that we have a lot more control than most of us typically exercise, and learning how to do that, and also learning the limits of it too.
Right, it's like control, because the control is coming from your mind, and that's actually the ultimate control. Yeah. So I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about the different forms of meditation that you practice and teach, and also so you spent like almost 2 years in silence, like in silent retreat, which is crazy to most people. Like, how would you do that? Like, what does that even look like? You're alone in a cabin in the woods for years. Did you have dreams? Like, what were they? Tell me.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll take them one by one. There's a couple different types of meditation I'm really, really into. One is just classical meditation. So this is mindfulness of breathing, mindfulness of the body. I've done it way more than any other type of meditation. It's like absolutely the bread and butter of my meditation practice. I still find it really revealing, fascinating, helpful, frustrating, everything. And then there is
The mindfulness of the body, like the like body scan. We did that the first speaker did that. Okay.
Yeah,
And
like
like
sit
breath.
down, be aware of the body, or lie down, be aware of the body, with breathing as the animating force within the body. You could be a body scan, it could be paying attention to certain parts. There's kind of like an endless sort of array of techniques, just within that simple being aware of the body. And then if anything else comes up, you let that go. Then there's compassion meditation, which is this network of practices that are designed to help reorient how the emotions are working and how we're regarding other people and regarding ourselves. So compassion. And then there's interpersonal, where bringing meditation into the realm of relationship and starting to understand, what are these reactions, what are these responses, what's going on for other people, what's going on for myself. And that's like the least, the type of meditation I do with the least historical basis.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it really
And
helpful
there's
and
like a
relevant.
psychedelic history to that.
Yeah, there's a psychedelic history towards to some of that. This form called circling. That's where some of the interpersonal meditation techniques come from. Actually, arose at Burning Man with some people who were in a psychedelic state, and it's a very psychedelic experience to look someone else in the eye for any real like length of time, I find. So I could go on and on about psychedelics and interpersonal meditation and the links there.
Which I think maybe we'll
So
have you back in I think October we're gonna do like a psychedelics and relationships and meditation series, because I think
yeah,
people are having a lot of relationship problems right now, and I think
yeah.
maybe we could even like do break off sessions that people could practice that, because I
Oh,
know I
that would
like
be so fun.
so rad, right? And
Yeah.
like personally when I went and I joined your a class you were teaching in New York a few months ago, which was circling. There were maybe 15 people there, and I'd never done that before, and I thought it was amazing. It was really amazing, and I think it would be really great to bring that to people that are, you know, engaged in SoundMind in various ways, and just help them see like how they
Yeah,
can relate to
I
people in
would
their
love
lives.
that, and I've been doing a lot online ever since March, and been pleasantly surprised by how much can happen in a virtual space. And I've also experienced the frictions of being in close quarters with the same people, and so any tools I think
You're like, why are you
even
so
with all my
annoying?
tools, I'm like, oh my god, this
Yeah.
is psychotic.
It's totally true. Yeah. Yeah. So I think just like having people like understand how to like interact with romantic partners and roommates and family that they're like stuck with, I think it will be very important. So we'll have you do some instructions then. Yeah.
Great, great. Um,
So
yeah,
okay,
and
so tell me about dreams and 2-year silent retreats.
dreams and 2 year silent retreats. Yes. So 2 years, it was in basically just a cabin in the woods, and almost totally by myself, meditating about 10 hours a day, cooking rice and beans, eating that 2 meals a day, and a lot, happened inside, and then not so much happened outside. It's like a lot of seasons changing, and
Like
then
inside your body or inside the cabin?
oh yeah, just inside like my body,
Yeah,
mind
mind.
thing.
Okay. Okay. Like indoors.
And yeah, and dreaming, I did have more time to actually like devote to it, and I do find that the dreaming practices, part of the reason I don't do them so often now, is it's like it takes a lot of time and effort. Like to even just do dream recall requires that I wake up and first thing in the morning do something pretty hard with my mind, which is like recall back to this foggy, hazy area and like pull up, like re-pull, into consciousness these experiences that just want to fade immediately. Like the
Hmm.
momentum towards amnesia from the dream realm, at least for me, still is tremendous. Um, and then with lucid dreaming, one of the best techniques I ever found for actually like effectively lucid dreaming on a regular basis is polyphasic sleep, where you just sleep and then wake up way earlier than you would, like I don't know, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., something like
Hmm.
that. Stay awake for anywhere from like 20 minutes, to an hour, and then go back to sleep with the intention of becoming lucid in your
Hmm.
dreams.
Hmm.
And because you have a lot more longer REM cycles, longer dreaming cycles later in your sleep to contact back in with this, physical world, and then go back into those longer REM cycles gives you the best opportunity gives, it works really well for me. It's also been documented to work for other people. But polyphasic sleep also like makes me groggy during the day and stuff. So when I have a lot of stuff to do, which when I'm meditating 10 hours a day, I didn't. So it was like, fine, I could just be groggy and then like deal with it. It's a little different when I have a lot of obligations and other things. So I spent more time like really checking out my dreams then. And it's actually been a little disappointing how much they've sort of receded again into this largely unknown space. Like, so many experiences that I have such little memory of.
Yeah, it's interesting that as like psychoanalysts often believe that when you forget the dream, it's like if you say like if you go into a session, you're like, I had a dream, but I can't remember it, and they're like, ooh, like why did you forget it? And you're like,
Yeah,
no, I just forgot it because I'm busy, and they're like, sure, like you forgot it because you don't want to face it,
I mean, you guys have like in the psychoanalytic tradition have a lot to say about dreams, and I think it would probably be humbling and revealing and helpful to spend a couple months, years like working with a psychoanalytic therapist and like digging into these dreams. One of the most insightful things I ever heard about dreams, I was in my Alexander technique class, and one of my teachers was working with me, and she said, how are you? I said, fine, but like, God, my dreams were stressful last night. And I'm like, why? Like, why am I wasting all this time? And she has a big background in Jung and, like psychoanalytic evaluation of dreams. And she was like, yeah, like dreams are a way that you can process things that are maybe like too overwhelming or difficult to process in a waking state. And I just felt so relieved. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm just, processing my life, and it's like fine that like my dreams are stressful.
Yeah, and totally crazy. Yeah.
And totally crazy.
Yeah.
Or even banal, like not even crazy, just stressful, like some like lame thing that I just need to get done and I'm behind on, and I'm spending my night trying to do.
Totally. I think can you explain what Alexander technique is for people who don't know about it, just because you've mentioned it a couple times?
So Alexander technique is a method of working with the body, also with awareness, to have greater ease, better alignment, and really it's like the art of how we do what we do. So, you and I are sitting here, we're sitting here in bodies. How are we actually holding those bodies? How can we hold those bodies in ways that are clearer and more honoring of our skeletal structure and our muscular system and how everything's working together? Yeah, whenever I start talking about Alexander technique, people change how they're sitting and think I'm like telling them they're wrong. And I'm not, but still. Also clearer. Yes.
Yeah, maybe we can do like an intro to that sometime, because I don't really know much about it.
Yeah, or I could maybe connect you with my teacher. She might be willing to come on. She's
nice.
like,
yeah,
total awareness ninja and like one of the best body workers I've ever met.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you be willing to walk us through some sort of meditation that is like, any old meditation would be fine, but maybe one that's related to sleep and like centering?
Yeah, definitely. How long?
As long as you want.
Could you give
but
me
I'm taking my video off because I don't want to be.
Could you give me a time range, Hannah?
I'll say 20 minutes.
Oh, 20 minutes. Okay, yeah.
Does that
absolutely.
work? And then maybe we can animate that later, and so we can have a instructional video about whatever you want.
No, that's good. We'll do a really great meditation.
Okay.
Mindfulness of breathing. It's
Sweet.
like mindfulness of breathing is just great. I really think that it's one of those things that's basically impossible to have too much of, and it's really wonderful. It's just a way of like a prelude. It's really wonderful for calming the nervous system. So before bed, for sort of stabilizing and centering. And it's also really good for bringing in more sort of sensitivity and awareness. So it's interesting like that. It can both be something that calms the system, but also I think for a lot of us, when I know this is my experience, when I actually like stop just thinking and start to check in with my body, I'll often find a lot of sort of edgy things in there too. So it's not as simple as relaxing,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes the act of settling into the body creates, become aware of maybe fears, anxieties, confusions, tensions that we weren't aware of. So
Sounds
3
good.
cheers for mindfulness of breathing, and we'll just kind of dive in and see how we go.
Sweet. So you do the thing, and then at the end, just say like, "Come back on," and I'll come back on.
Okay, great.
Sweet.
Hmm. So wherever you are, whether you're, sitting or lying down, taking a little while to find a comfortable way to hold your body. And if you're upright, allowing your spine to be straight and long, also being easy, honoring its natural curves, connecting to the experience of gravity as is felt in your body right now. That sense of solidity, weight, contact with the floor. And releasing into that contact, letting go of the any resistance to gravity. And then becoming aware of, of your entire body as it is sitting here. Sense of legs, torso, arms, hands, head and neck. Noticing gravity and noticing how, as you release into the floor pushes back up against you, and that force sends you upright. So, a deeper connection to gravity is not a collapse, there's actually a buoyancy, a rebound. And then within your body, bringing your attention to your breathing, to this constant flow, this movement in and out, up and down. And using your breath, using the rhythm of your breath to release your conceptual mind, the mind that thinks and plans and hopes and dreams and wants and doesn't want. Letting that conceptual mind fade as you fall into a somatic awareness, a world of movement and fizzing, tension and release. And then anytime the conceptual mind comes back, anytime thinking arises and takes you out of your body, bringing your mind back to rest in the body, re-anchoring. And this very act of returning attention is in of itself quite profound. This establishing agency within your own mental continuum, deciding what it is that you're going to attend to, and then learning how to do that. Knowing that that learning process can be long and involved and deeply creative. So noticing the body, connecting to gravity, connecting to the rebound, the buoyancy, and also experiencing breath as it moves through you. And anytime a thought comes up, bringing yourself back into the body, knowing that that process of coming back isn't somehow just a distraction from what you're up to. It's a place where we really develop skill. Because meditation is about skill as much as it is about experiencing any state. It's about developing skill with how we're relating to our experience. And as you go, as you continually return awareness to your body, as you rest awareness within your body, enjoying the simplicity of breathing. Enjoying the basic rhythmicity, basic simplicity. And within the structure of returning attention to your body, opening a kind, soft, receptive space for whatever's occurring. So if within your body you find physical pain, within your body you find anxiety in your heart, within your body you find anything whatsoever, allowing that to be held in a gentle way. Noticing what's happening. Learning to be hostly towards our experience. There's this subtle art of simultaneously aspiring towards centeredness and peacefulness, while also making a tremendous space for what it is that we're actually experiencing, which for many of us is anything but settled and peaceful. And this requires bringing kindness to bear on our experience. And within the body, we may find a pleasant sense of ease, staying with that if that's there. We may find some sort of activation that's uncomfortable, anxiety, tension, queasiness, etc. That's occurring, resting as well with that. And we may find blankness, numbness, frozen experience. And if that's occurring, just being with that. So continuing to rest, to become aware of your embodied experience. Releasing thinking mind as it comes up. Orienting not so much to the content of what's happening, but the process. Having a confidence that application and curiosity over time really are enough. And as you tune into your body, becoming aware more of what's happening. You can understand the unconscious as a mental experience. There's all sorts of memories we don't have access to, or parts of what's happening in the thinking mind that we don't have access to. And we also carry a vast store of unconsciousness within our own bodies. So as you rest with your somatic experience, pressing the borders of what you're aware of within your body, of what you're conscious of. Maybe you have a faint sense of something in your heart, bringing a little more granularity, a little more specificity, a little more focus to that experience. And if you meet barriers to what you can be aware of, if you meet numbness, for example, resting with that numbness. Not demanding that our bodies reveal themselves to us. Simply, patiently, kindly listening. And then as we start to emerge towards re-engaging with our normal sort of day, continuing to maintain body awareness, but also hearing whatever it is that you can hear. Sounds in the room, sounds outside the room, the ringing of silence. Feeling and hearing. And then open up your eyes, and without losing the hearing, without losing the feeling, see what you see. Allowing in light, colors, shapes. And this body awareness, this hearing, this seeing are things that can return to whenever you want, whenever it's helpful. And that's that. You can come on back whenever you're ready, Hannah.
Thank you, Miles. That was beautiful. I feel so much calmer.
Yeah, it's really different, huh?
Yeah.
There's not even 20 minutes, you know.
Definitely not 2 years.
No, I mean like just that 20 minute, like it's just, it always amazes me how, you know, when I'm not meditating and then I sit down, it's like just a little bit really like changes things.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like your eyes look different, and it, you know, for me, it feels really different to sit here now and like, yeah.
Do you feel like the instructing versus receiving instruction has a big difference for you?
Yeah. Ideally, I'm doing everything that I'm saying to do when I'm saying it. Um, or else it's sort of like a dead kind of speech. And so, so yeah, it's been interesting to learn about doing that. And I don't know, I have mixed experiences with guided meditations too. Sometimes I like them. A lot of the time they just drive me nuts. And I don't trust the person who's doing them, or just what they're saying is like getting in the way of like, just let me meditate, you know? So I definitely feel really mixed about receiving it. And then, um, yeah, and then saying it is different than just sitting alone, but not so different.
Yeah.
Because I'm often talking myself through anyway, like staying on track, like, okay, now do this, like, now do this.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And can you explain how like this instruction will differ from the October instruction in which you'll do like relational like
Yeah.
circling? Like what will that seem like so people can get pumped about it?
So we'll probably start with something really similar to what we did. Like, okay, what's your own body like? But then we'll bring it into relationship and interaction. So we might look at one other person or whole, you know, Zoom room full of people, and start to notice how looking at different people creates very different reactions in your own body. Maybe more activation, more numbness, whatever it is, and starting to bring a lot of curiosity to that and slowing down interaction enough that we can really learn something there instead of, I think most interaction moves very quickly, kind of bouncing from one thing to another, afraid of, you know, what am I going to say next, trying to appear this way or that way. So when we open space to just get curious, we start to see a lot of the sort of forces that are driving underneath, but that consciously are escaping awareness. And once you start to bring that sort of the unconscious in, it gets very, very interesting. And also we start to have more understanding of ourselves, more understanding of others, and then potentially a little more agency too around what we do with how we are.
Cool. Can't wait.
Yeah, me either.
Awesome. Well, Miles, thank you for coming on. Thank you for leading us through a nice meditation and talking about various aspects of dreams and mindfulness and everything else and COVID stress. Is there anything else that I missed that you'd want to talk about?
No, mostly just, well, one thing, which is, thanks for continuing to create community and everything. I know that's something you do a lot of in person. And so creating this space for folks to get together and bringing on, I looked at some of the other panelists, really interesting. So yeah, thanks for doing everything you do to bring people together, Hannah.
Thank you, Miles. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, talk to you soon. Be well, everybody.
Bye.